In this tutorial video, we're going to be seeing how to use exceptions in Java. Now, we already spoke about the concept behind exceptions in the previous video, and if you recall, I used the following analogy. So it's like if you're throwing a ball that goes from method to method, and until that ball has been caught, it's going to keep on going until it reaches the main method. And if it's not caught at all, then your program will crash. So in Java terms, you need something to catch that ball, and that something is basically a method. So a method catches an exception using a combination of the try and catch keywords, also known as a try-catch block. So a try-catch block is placed around the code that might generate an exception. Code within a try-catch block is referred to as protected code. So in our example here of an exception, we start off by initializing two variables, x and y, x equals 10, y equals 0. Then we open up our try block here, and this is where we're going to be isolating the code susceptible of generating an exception, in this case x divided by y, so 10 divided by 0. Then when the program reaches this line here, the exception of type arithmetic exception is brought up. Now what that means is, in Java, you have a list of runtime exceptions and checked exceptions. So I've drawn out a list, not of all of them, just a few. And as you can see, arithmetic exception is a unchecked runtime exception. So we have the description here, arithmetic error, such as divide by 0. So again, as I said, these are not the full lists. If you want the full list of unchecked runtime exceptions, you can find them at this link here. Otherwise, you can simply type class runtime exception in Google or Java into the Google search bar, and it will bring you to this page. So as you can see, you have all of the types of runtime exceptions here. Again, for the checked exceptions, you have the full list here. Simply type out this link or type out class exception Java into Google. Again, you have all the types here. So coming back to our example, and just to recap, as I was saying, when our program reaches this line, the exception of type arithmetic exception is brought up. So our block, our catch block here contains the object of type arithmetic exception as a parameter, which we've called e for this example. So our exception is going to be captured, and then the instruction of our block is going to be executed. So in this case, we want to display the following sentence, error, followed by this this exception method here. This is what is known as an exception method, get message. So again, I've drawn out a list of some of the exception methods in the Java language. So as you can see, this is get messages here, description next to it, returns a detailed message about the exception that has occurred. This message is initialized in the throwable constructor. So again, if you want all of the types of exception methods, remember in this case we're using a runtime exception, arithmetic exception. So all you have to do is go to the page or the documentation of runtime exceptions here and simply scroll down a bit, and as you can see, you have the methods and get messages here. You can click on the methods if you want more details. So that's basically the run through of our example here. In the next step, I'm going to be showing you how to do this example in Eclipse, just so you get a better idea of what we want to explain to you. So I would just add that if you want more details and information on exceptions, you can always go to this link here. Again, it's the official Java documentation or Java tutorials. So you have the link here. You have all of the notions of exceptions if you want more details. So as I said, in the next step we're going to see how to use that example that we just saw, so meet me in the next step. In this step we're going to try out the example we saw in the previous step, but just before we do that I just want to draw your attention to this. So as in our example, we start off by initializing two variables, x equals 10 and y equals 0. And then we want to print out the division between the two variables, so x divided by y, which is 10 divided by 0. And then we want to print out the following string message, which is hello in this case. So let's run the program and see what happens. And as you can see, we get an error of type arithmetic exception. And we get a description of the exception type, which is, or of the exception, sorry, which is by 0. Basically, we can't divide by 0. So this is why we need to use a try catch block to catch the exception. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's add our try block first of all. So this, inside our try block, this is where we're going to be isolating the code that is susceptible of generating an exception. So in this case, x divided by y. So that's our try. This is our try block, and then we're going to add our catch block. So catch. We're going to we want to catch an exception of type arithmetic exception. We're going to name it E. And then we're going to print out following sentence error, and the exception method dot get message, like so. Okay, and then right at the end here we're going to still print out the string message hello. So just to recap, we initialized two variables, x equals 10, y equals 0. Then we isolated inside our try block the code susceptible of generating an exception, in this case x divided by y. When the program reaches this line here, the exception of type arithmetic exception is brought up. So our block, our catch block, holds the object type arithmetic exception as a parameter that we've called E in this case, and then the exception is going to be captured, so the instruction of the catch block will be executed, in this case system.out.println error, followed by the exception method getMessage, which returns a detailed message about the exception that has occurred, and then right at the end here we want to print out this message to see if our program gets that far. So let's run our program. Okay, and as you can see, we get the exception is caught, so we print out the following message error, followed by the result of the exception method getMessage, which is by 0. And then as you can see, since the exception has been caught, our program goes right to the end, so it finishes at this instruction here, which is print out hello. So that's how you use an exception in Java.